Hey guys, welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you all. My name is Catherine Kaufman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is a talk show where we go over a lot of different stuff because we need all the help we can get in this life to get through it. Right. And so tonight we're going to go over dream walking, what it is it ethical, should you do it, should you not? I'm going to be answering all kinds of questions tonight. Let's do some quick shout outs. Hey to you guys over here on Instagram. Hey to Melissa Begley, I hope you're healing okay and you're back on your feet soon. Hey to Christy, Joy, Michelle, Tom, and David and Barbara. Thanks for joining me this evening. And Amy Butcher, thank you so much for being here with me. Does anybody have any idea what dream walking is? Was this a new term for you that I put up for the show? And there's going to be a lot of controversial kind of topics that go in and around this that we'll discuss. This may turn into two shows in one. Hey to Mary Cummings. And then also there are different camps of thought on dream walking, OBEs, and astral projection. And also I want to introduce, okay, this is going to be the magic button. Stick around to the end of the show. You're going to find out what this does for tonight. I'm bringing back a little segment that we had at the beginning of the shows, and since I moved down to my studio down to the basement, we had lost this part of the show that we had been doing, and so I'm bringing that back. Hey to Ricky Elkins and Kayla. Okay, so let's get into dream walking, and as always, if any of you have any questions about the content, please drop it in the comments. I do answer all of the questions on both Facebook pages, so if you have any questions, please put them in there. Dream walking is where a person actually enters or goes into another person's dream. They're not just in their own dream world, but they actively and purposefully enter another person's dream. Now, that can be for several reasons. It can be because you miss that person and you know, maybe you're separated by miles and miles of physical distance and you just want to be with them, and maybe that's a way to do that. It can be for unethical type of liaisons. So, you know, or it can be to influence that person. So we're kind of getting into a little bit of, I feel like it's kind of equated to remote influencing. Now, remote influencing is a step further than remote viewing. And a lot of you probably have heard of MK Ultra and the government's program on remote viewing. And that's where they took psychics that were highly skilled and use them to remote view different areas and gather information. Now, a lot of people said it was just psychic information. There's also thought that what they were doing was OBEs to actually view and gather information. Remote influencing is a step further than that. It's kind of like dream walking in the way that remote influencing, you're entering somebody else's mind and influencing them in certain ways. And so that has ethical concerns as well. Hey to Barbie, Robin, Christopher, Sonia, and Kim Asher and C.W. Rhodes, and Rocky and Gail Bolin. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so back to dream walking. It's, of course, you know, it can be considered good or bad. depending on, what is your purpose in entering this other person's dream. Now, in my particular family, dream walking was considered out-of-body experience in that you were attending a future event. And two particular members of my family had incidents where they had an out-of-body experience and saw events that were happening in the future of different people in the family or maybe a close friend. And one of the incidents, actually it was my older brother who did the out-of-body experience. Someone actually witnessed him having this OBE at the location that he had said he was at. So that was interesting. But in my family, that was considered dream walking. Now, if you look it up, dream walking on the classical term is entering someone else's dream or going into someone else's dream. Hey to Trina and George, and hey to all you guys over here on Instagram. So the first thing that goes with dream walking is you have to be able to be a very proficient lucid dreamer. Now, the first step is actually conquering the dreamscape, learning how to analyze your dreams, how to know what the dreamscape looks and feels like, how to navigate it. And part of that is learning how to analyze your dreams, how to interpret your dreams, how to remember your dreams, because a lot of people don't even remember their dreams. So an easy way to do that is to put like a pad of paper and a pen next to your bed, put your alarm on for 2 a.m., and then when the alarm goes off, you're going to get up, and you can do this in the dark. You don't have to wake up completely to do this. Whatever you're dreaming about at the moment, if you're dreaming, let's say you're dreaming of a White House. You're going to simply take that pad of paper and pen and write WH on it, okay? When you wake up the next morning and you see that WH on there, that's going to be like a trigger recall, and that will help you trigger recall the dream. Now, if it doesn't trigger you, you may have to write out a little bit more, but most people will be able, that trigger will be able to give them enough information that they can recall the rest of the dream. Hey to Gary, Missy, and Greta, and Trina. Hey to all you guys over here on Instagram. If there are any of you on my professional page watching and you want to join the live chat, I did leave a link there. You can hop over to the personal page and join the live chat there. That's where I'm going to be answering most of the live questions. But if you just want to sit back, relax, and view, hang out on the professional page, that's perfectly okay. So the first thing you have to do is to conquer the dreamscape, get comfortable with your dream interpretation and your dream analysis. Then you go to the next step, which is learning how to do lucid dreaming. How many of you guys know how to do or actively doing lucid dreaming? Let's check for questions here. I don't see any questions just yet. So you guys must be tired today on Monday. It's been really cold and rainy here in Lexington. Hi to Ina. And that makes us all lethargic and sleepy, which is what I've been this evening. Okay, so let's get into lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is where you have cognitive awake consciousness within your own dreamscape. So what that means is, in normal people, when we're dreaming, things are happening. You're kind of a passive observer. Things are happening to you. You're not able to control anything that's going on. However, lucid dreaming is a practice that puts your consciousness awake inside the dream, where you're able to make decisions and manipulate the dream to different outcomes that it's consciousness driven or awake consciousness in the dream where you manipulate the outcomes. So that is the first step to dream walking, is you absolutely have to conquer and be very proficient at lucid dreaming. So one thing to remember is dreams are not the astral. Dreams are your subconscious's way of dealing with issues that have happened during the week or that are happening in life. And astral is something totally different. And the dreams are unique to the person who's having the dream. So they're generated by the subconscious. It's symbology, visual imagery that helps you deal with problems or situations. Now, let's say, like, lucid dreaming is really helpful for problems that you have in life. Let's say you feel like a victim, and so you have a lot of dreams about being attacked or being shot or wars or things like that. That could be your subconscious's way of saying, this is how you feel, you know, how are you going to deal with that? What are you going to do? If you were a proficient lucid dreamer, you might take control in that dream and maybe shoot back or remove yourself from the situation or say the war is over and, you know, have a different dreamscape come up. It's the will of the consciousness that's driving that. So Sheila says it's very hard to learn. It's very hard to learn to stay asleep when you engage in lucid dreaming. Well, and actually at the end of the show, I'm going to bring up a new technique if we have time for it. And Sheila, you may want to look into it. It's called the Wilds technique. And it's a new way of lucid dreaming that you might want to look into because it's very different and it involves a waking state. So that might put you a little bit more in control. Okay, so after you've become proficient at lucid dreaming, and you realize that you're dreaming, you're able to manipulate the dream. This is the difficult part of the technique, is you're going to combine lucid dreaming with an out-of-body experience. Now we have to get into, so you understand what we're dealing with, we have to get into what is an out-of-body experience and what is astral travel or astral projection, because there is a difference. Now, in the old days, I thought that the terms were interchangeable and that they were the same, but they're actually not. And I still believe, though, that out-of-body experience is a step towards astral projection or astral travel. And so what I think the steps are is we first dream, okay? Then then we study and we learn about lucid dreaming. Then we study and we learn about out-of-body experience. Then we study and we learn about astral projection. So we know what the dream is. The dream is your subconscious producing images, but from stressors or from situations in life that you need to deal with. Lucid dreaming is when your consciousness takes control in the dream and you're able to manipulate the dreamscape. So let's go a step further. What is an out-of-body experience? The out-of-body experience is when your subtle body is projected out into the physical plane, okay? So you're in the physical plane. Let's say you project yourself from your bed out into the hallway, and you feel kind of floaty, and you look around, and you recognize that's the hallway of your home, okay? You may, go around the house, look at other people that are sleeping, but you're still on the earth plane. However, your subtle body is folded into this physical dimension somehow. Now, this is this is a real complicated area. Astral projection is a step further in that, is when you are projected in the subtle body to a different plane of existence. It's not the earth plane, but a different consciousness or a whole different plane of existence. Okay, that to me is astral projection or astral travel. Hey to Tony and Janice. Okay, so let me get back to my notes here. So when you're doing dream walking, you are entering somebody else's dream through a lucid dreaming state. Now, how to do that? When you're in the lucid state, what you would do then is to try to connect with the person whose dream you want to enter. So we need to know what they look like. You're going to have to form a connection with that person. You've got to know what they look like, what their personality is like, because you need the resonant vibration of that person. Now, a lot of psychics like myself can just take a picture and pick up the resonant vibration of that person and know enough then to enter the dream. However, if your psychic skills are not really polished or not really practiced, you may really have to go through like a meditative exercise before you go to bed of focusing on that person, you know, what they're like, what their tendencies are like, what they look like, where they're at, you know, what location. And then once you're in the lucid dream, you're doing that again. You're forming a portal at that point to the person. Now, a lot of people will actually visualize a doorway or a door. It's like a doorway of their house or a doorway to their bedroom. And so you would visualize, after you visualize them in the lucid dream, you would visualize the door, and you would see your arm actually going forward and opening the door, and them on the other side of the door, either sitting in a chair, reclining, or something like that. Then you need to be very aware of, you know, their reaction to you. If they're surprised at seeing you in the dream, or are they totally oblivious to your energy in their dream? So Janice, so confused and willing to learn. This is a very confusing topic, and not a lot of people know about it, Janice, so don't feel bad. And then there's a lot of trains of thought on this. There's different camps of thought on it. But basically, dream walking is just a technique to where you enter someone else's dream. You're entering into the dream. Now, let's say that you have a spouse that has to be out of town a lot, and you guys miss each other. If we just think of though the benefits of it, because if you really worked on this and you worked together, you could definitely not feel so alone and maybe bridge the gap, the physical gap, with this technique. Another thing that I feel like is beneficial to do is for people who want to reunite. Let's say you have a husband or a wife or a partner, and one of you is at risk of passing on, or one of you is going to pass on. This technique would be awesome for you guys to practice, so that when one of you passes on, you can meet up or be experienced in reuniting on the astral plane or the dreamscape. Wouldn't that be great? And then so part of the fear of passing on, or part of the fear of death, is actually lessened, which I think would be really, really good. So Ina says, how do you know if someone is walking into your dream? That's a good question, Ina, because really proficient dream walkers can disguise themselves as someone else or as an ambiguous animal, and they can present themselves in the dream and totally take you off guard. You really have to go on the feeling of what you're experiencing in the dream. And so the person who is dream walking, let's say that they have hidden themselves in an animal. The person who's actually having the dream, gets like a really funny feeling about the animal. Maybe they get apprehension about the animal. So the person who's having the dream needs to be proficient at lucid dreaming themselves, so that they would be aware and conscious enough to know that this may not be an actual animal. It may be somebody who's entered my dream. So Melissa says, are you able to project positive energy into a person fading into dark energy? Yes, I believe you can, Melissa. This is something that takes a whole lot of practice, and I mean like consistent practice. But think of the benefits for people who want to stay together after, after passing on. This would be a phenomenal opportunity to meet up with your loved one in the astral plane in the dream state. But it's a practice skill, you guys, that it's available to you, but it does take work. So Trina says, I've had many lucid dreams since I was little. A lucid dream of my husband who passed away 4 years ago. That's awesome. So, it's possible, Trina, if you practiced this a little bit more, you may be able to just establish a steady communication with him through this technique. Okay, so we're lucid dreaming. We have formed a portal to this person's dream. And remember, that's your mind is going to actually form this portal. So it can look like a portal to you, like the wormhole that we see on TV. Or I like to visualize a doorway where I'm opening the door and that person is on the other side. But certainly whatever is most significant in solidifying the image of the portal in your mind, use that imagery, okay? Because the most imprinted significance in your mind is the one that's going to work the best. So Tony says, my aunt came to me in a dream saying she was happy and safe. She passed away a few years ago. We were very close. Is this the same thing? No, Tony, what you had is a visitation. The dream walking is a consistent technique that you use. It would be like saying to yourself, I'm going to go visit so-and-so tonight. And then when you go to bed, you go. Visitations are sporadic. It's where the spirit actually uses theta wave of your brainwave state to visit you in a dream. And the Monday Night Live episode playlist does have a video specifically on dreams and visitations. Are they real? So just go to the playlist on the YouTube channel, Monday Night Live in Lexington. It's on my YouTube channel. And I'll post a link to the playlist in the comments after we get done. And just go back through the playlist. There will be a video on visitations. But that's different than dream walking. Dream walking is where you're aware, you're using that lucid dreaming, your consciousness is projecting you forward into that person's space of where they are in that dream state. Thanks for the hearts. I love that. Hey to Natalie. Thanks for joining me this evening. Okay, so once you're in that person's dream, that person is not going to experience the dream necessarily the same as you. And like I said, some people that enter your dream can disguise themselves as objects, as animals, as someone else. And how many times have you had a dream and been interacting with someone and then suddenly they turn into somebody else? Ever had that happen? I have. So yeah, that's the sobering moment that clues you into what may really be going on at that time. Also, let's say you enter somebody else's dream and they're angry with you. They may perceive you as a different type of entity than what you are, simply because of the subconscious association that they have for you at that time. So what that would mean is, if you, let's say you were trying to make amends, or you're trying to make up for what you did in this dream walking state. So what you would need to do through your lucid dreaming is to project an image that's non-threatening, and it doesn't represent the resonant energy of you at that moment, especially if they're angry with you. You know, and then as their energy softens, as the resonant energy opens, maybe you can show them who you are at that point and maybe make amends that way. So, and you can see the ethical dilemmas here. And I even hesitated to do the show, but I started thinking about the benefits of people who want to reconnect after passing on. And you know, this is something that if you now do this with a willing participant who is open and able to, you know, test this with you and practice this with you, think of the benefit if something were to happen to one of you, that you would be able to make that contact, you know, just like that. You would say, you know what, I really miss this person tonight. I'm going to go visit them. Bang. It's like picking up the phone and saying, hey, what are you doing? So I felt like the benefit of this was greater than people manipulating and using this in the wrong way, because we're, you know, people are always doing that. So Kim says, I thought I was dreaming today, was just about asleep, but was startled, feeling movement as if someone was jumping over me, kind of like when a cat gets in bed. I don't have a cat, by the way. Was I dreaming? Probably not, Kim, because when you are slipping into theta wave states, which is a slower brain wave right before you go into delta wave, which is deep sleep, you're kind of opening up to another realm at that time when you're in theta wave. And so you're going to be perceiving things from the other side during that time. Now, the question to you is, you know, did you have a pet that had passed on, or is there some other thing around you that was causing that motion that you sensed, but you sensed something from the other side at that time? So Christy says, if someone enters your dream and you don't like it, can you stop the dream? Yes, Christy, but only if you are versed in lucid dreaming as well. And so that's why I was saying, you know, if you want to use this constructively, both people need to be very practiced and very versatile in lucid dreaming to manipulate both sides of the dream. Although it needs to be the one person who enters the state of the other person's dream. Like, you both can't try to open the door at the same time. We have to have one projective and one receptive. So someone has to receive and the other one has to project and open the door. I hope that makes sense. So one of the classic phrases in this, and I saw it on more than one place when I was doing my research, is beware a dream walker. Because they can really, really, really mess with you in your dream. So really, your protection against dream walkers is learning how to lucid dream. Now, we're out of time for this evening. I'm going to show you what the magic button is. On the next episode, the part 2 of this, we're going to go into more difference between out-of-body experiences, astral projection, and then also we're going to go into what the wilds technique is, which was really, really cool. Let's see, Kim says, no pets. I have recently had surgery. Perhaps someone did not think I needed a nap while home alone. I'm going to go with that. I verbally said, okay, I get it. I won't nap. LOL, it stopped. Awesome. And then Sandra says, my son and grandson say good night by saying, I'm going to come into your dreams. So let's ride dragons. Oh, God, that sounds like fun. Now, let's find out what the magic button is. I'm going to push it, and we'll see what happens. And we'll find out what's for dinner, David. Hey, nice to have you back.
Hello, it's good to be here to be back. Tonight, we're having a roast chicken, stuffed it with a whole head of garlic, rosemary, thyme, tarragon, lemon. Put lemon, potato, onion, and carrots around the chicken.
Oh, wow.
And
that's Ina Garten style.
Believe you me, those potatoes, I tasted them. It's done. It's waiting. And they have soaked up chicken flavor and the lemon. And
wow. Thank you, honey.
Heavenly.
All right. So even though I'm down in the basement now, you know, we devised the magic button thing so that we can find out what's for dinner, except on the nights that I give David off. But anyway, we're going to continue with all this because it gets really complex. Now you know what dream walkers are. And so your best defense against a dream walker is to learn lucid dreaming yourself. There are videos on YouTube about how to do it. There's all kinds of books and references on Amazon that are really good. And I think it's next Monday, we're going to have Shifu Karega back with the new updates from the Electric Universe. And then the week after that, we'll continue with part 2 of this. So kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you guys next Monday. Bye now. You guys take care. Have a fabulous